First game of the 2023-2024 season live at Stamford Bridge. It was Chelsea versus Liverpool. Lots to talk about what would happen on the pitch, but even more to talk about what would happen off the pitch. But without further ado, let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the championship!
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea-Liverpool match review. But before I get into all that, I need you to do me a big favor. It's a new season. Do me the solid. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button. It will help me, and it will help my sponsors who go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do. Hit them up. Boehly's in the building. What a game, both on and off the pitch. Chelsea 1-1 at Stamford Bridge versus Liverpool. It was Diaz that scored the first goal, and that was only equalized by Disasi, the debutant for Chelsea. The game finished 1-1, but man, were there a ton of talking points in terms of how Chelsea wanted to play with their defensive structure and what they want to do in the possession of the football. We're going to start by talking about Chelsea's defensive setup with the three center backs and why it was important for them to be ball-playing center backs. Guys that are very comfortable on the ball and can pick those passes in that 15 to 20 yard range. Now, most of what you're about to hear may not be 100% accurate. I'm basically just going to give you what I saw in the game in the most simplest form as possible, and up to you whether or not you interpreted it differently or if you have something else to add to it. But I specifically saw Liverpool playing a 4-3-3, very attack-minded, not really any midfielders in there to compensate. They were looking to basically try and pin back Chelsea. And as a result, I think what we were going to do is play a 4-2-3-1 with that middle asymmetrical shape, but the fact that their midfield was so packed with attackers, we had to have another defender on the pitch just to compensate. So out came Mudryk and in came Ben Chilwell to make up Chelsea's back four. Midfield 4 and 2. So when we defended, it was basically a 4-4-2. But with that said, I think the principles of our build-up phase were exactly the same as what we saw in the preseason. Chelsea played with a back three. It was a 3-2-4-1 when we were looking to play out. And for the most part, because Liverpool set up with a narrow 4-3-3 and we're basically playing with a bunch of attackers in the central midfield zone, it gave Chelsea the width of the pitch to open them up a bit more and play through them. But I think the areas that Chelsea looked to exploit the most, which were most vulnerable, were in the wide areas. And that was basically the zones where you would want to see like a right or left midfielder fill the gaps in there to help compensate for the overload between our fullbacks and our inside number 10s, if you want to say. And for the most part, I don't think that Liverpool dealt with this at all in the second half in particular. There were a ton of situations, especially in the second half, where Chelsea just overloaded the wide areas of the pitch, in particular Robertson, who could not deal with, Reece James and the overlapping runs. And of course, Raheem Sterling, he didn't know where his reference point was. He was basically caught in between the two of them. And every time we went out to that right side of the right flank there, he was basically caught in 2v1 situations all the way up the pitch. But in order to effectively work this plan, you need defenders on the ball who are very comfortable in possession and able to angle those cross passes. Thiago Silva spraying the ball out to Reece James, spraying the ball out to Raheem Sterling, bypassing the midfield, being a lot more direct, progressive passes into the final third. All of those characteristics have to be inch perfect for this plan to work. And for the large majority of this game, Chelsea just had it spot on. The passes out to Raheem Sterling, the passes out to Reece James in particular, whether it been Thiago Silva, Disasi, or even Colwill who were on the ball. We had that ball, that 20 to 25 yard ball out to the flanks that was giving Liverpool all sorts of trouble. And this is the importance of having three defenders on the pitch that can also, stretch the back line, that can play those passes, those progressive passes that get defenses into trouble. So essentially what Liverpool tried to do was pack the midfield, take away Enzo Fernandez, take away Gallagher's ball playing ability, and leave the wide areas a little bit more exposed. What Chelsea did was counteract that by playing, the balls just in behind where the press was, and it was very confusing for Liverpool. They didn't know who they wanted to engage with, whether it be the fullbacks or the inside number 10s. So again, and then you have also Jackson, who's in the middle of the pitch there, who's occupying Van Dijk. So there's a lot to think about. for Liverpool. And the reason why Chelsea were able to keep 65% possession for the majority of the game is that, we recycled it around our center backs, and whenever Liverpool's front line tried to engage, and we pulled them forward, we were able to just lump that ball just in over top. So yeah, there was a lot to like about, the tactical deployment of the players today, and also the execution. Not only did the tactical switch give Robertson a lot to think about, but it also challenged, Klopp's opinion of playing Gakpo in the number 8 position. Because once Liverpool's midfielders decided to engage in the press and get a little bit further forward, it gave them a lot of problems. In particular, Gakpo with, reacting to the ball over the top that put, Robertson in a 2v1 situation. He wasn't really there to help him in any of those circumstances because of Liverpool's high press. So, tactically, I thought that Chelsea had the counter punch to, the really aggressive and really attack-minded Liverpool team. I just felt like we were able to snuff out the danger and then also transition the ball into those wide areas real quickly for the likes of Raheem Sterling, Reece James, Chilwell to get on and make that difference in the final third. I think the next evolution in this style of play, when we, advance it up the pitch and get those 2v1 situations isolating the fullback, I think is identifying what the next principle is after, of course, when, Raheem Sterling comes inside and then he's looking for the overlapping run to Reece James and he releases him through the gaps there, through the channel there. What is the evolution? What is the next principle when, Raheem Sterling decides to come in and Raheem Sterling overlaps? Like, every time I felt like Raheem Sterling came inside to the middle parts of the pitch, I don't think that we had a real strong idea of what we wanted to do in that phase. So I think the evolution again is now, okay, well, we have this one action here, we can play it in behind to Reece James and he can put the cross in, or when we have Raheem Sterling come inside, where are we playing the next ball? Does it have to be shifted back out to Reece James and then have more box presence, or does it have to come infield and then look for a different player to play off of? Maybe Jackson comes deeper and we play off of Jackson or something like that. But regardless, I think there's a lot to work on there. It's just now trying to evolve that one particular set that was very, very effective against Liverpool. Now, this is the fun part of the season for me. It's, the time when we get to identify the ideology, the methodology of the manager. Obviously, Pochettino worked on a ton of different things in the preseasons, and the stuff that seemed to be translating to the actual game is still on display there. Chelsea are still predominantly building with 3 out from the back. So it's a 3-2-4-1, however you want to look at it. That's predominantly how we're going to be playing. And, the only difference between this game and what we saw in the preseason was, instead of having an attacker like Nkunku or Mudryk out wide, we decided to compensate for, obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold's ability to come inside and be more of a midfielder by putting Chilwell on him. So the principles were still exactly the same. We still wanted to threaten in wide areas and, put them under an immense amount of pressure should they, obviously progress forward. And the releases to Ben Chilwell were very much evident as well. He got open space more than a few occasions. Had that been like Nkunku or Mudryk, it would have been even more devastating, obviously, but the idea is still there. I think the next little wrinkle that I want to analyze that we necessarily didn't really see in preseason, if we did, let me know, but I don't remember seeing it, was a relationship between Reece James and Enzo. And in this particular game, I thought that their relationship and their understanding between each other presented a different tactical shape for Chelsea altogether. Now, in one instance, I think it was around the 57-minute mark, I think it was Enzo Fernandez that was attracted to the ball out to the right flank. I'm not sure if Chelsea were in his press sequence or if that's just where his natural run took him, but he was on the right flank, and as a result, Reece James compensated by going centrally into the midfield and whatnot. And I thought that could have just basically been down to just, trying to fill the holes and whatnot before we get exposed on the counter and whatnot. But I would have believed that were the case if I didn't see the exact same thing again, maybe about 15 minutes later, where, again, Enzo's on the right flank and Reece James comes centrally to collect, and he's basically the one that's, playing in our deeper regista role, I guess. I don't know. And it's something to look for. I think that's something that we can use. Obviously, Reece James is very comfortable on the ball in the midfield. And then when you have the option of a right-footed, Enzo Fernandez delivering those angled passes in from that right flank, it's a completely different look for Chelsea altogether. There was an instance right close to the end of the game where he almost slipped in. I believe it was Jackson or somebody, and it almost worked, but the defender snuffed it out. But again, just different sort of tactical angles for Chelsea to attack the game at, and just providing so many variations on these basic shapes this is what tactics are all about. This is why Mauricio Pochettino, I think, is the right appointment for this job right now. He's taken these young players and he's giving them a tactical understanding that they can apply at a high level. We're seeing the beginnings of that right now, the understanding, the synergy, the mannerisms of the particular playing style. And it is enjoyable to watch. I think that we could be a little bit more clinical in the final third, but as we get more comfortable in this particular system, I think sky is the limit. Now, it wouldn't be right for me to speak about this game and not speak about two individuals in particular who I thought had outstanding performances. One being Thiago Silva, who I thought during the game overall, his build-up phases, his understanding of where the next pass needed to be, his organization in the back was just exceptional. I think that he, if not for the player I'm about to mention, should have been man of the match. Just for his overall ball quality, snuffing out danger, clearances, all that. He was just fantastic the entire game. But the other guy that I really think that we need to highlight is Enzo Fernandez, man. Wow. Wow. What a performance, man. I mean, I don't want to go over the moon, but if this is what we're getting from this guy, if this is the quality of football that we're going to be getting on a regular basis from this guy, this midfield is, Anyways, I don't want to get there too quickly, but the quality on the ball, the vision, the weight of pass, the composure, the ball control, the dribbling, everything this guy had. He should have scored too, if I'm not mistaken. He got in behind at least once and set up at least 3 more. But again, this guy is Rolls Royce midfielder, and the things that he's doing on the pitch. Granted, against a midfield that wasn't really a midfield, guys that don't necessarily want to be playing in those areas on the pitch, I thought that Enzo just tore them apart, not only with his dribbling, but obviously his quick decision making and his passes had them on skates all day. So big up to Enzo Fernandez, and if this is what we're going to see going forward, we are in for a treat. Now, just quickly, there was a fight on the pitch and there was also a fight off the pitch. And, you guys, if you follow me on Twitter, you follow me on socials, you'll know that I was not in any way endorsing Chelsea spending over the odds for a midfielder who I don't think decides matches. I think match winners are the guys that you spend overs for like that. And you know what? I thought like that right up until when Liverpool got involved in the negotiations for Moises Caicedo. And the reason is simple. Chelsea are trying to be what Real Madrid is to La Liga. We want to be the team that attracts the biggest and brightest stars. We're not going to be outbid by anybody. Doesn't matter who you are. You coming for our players, we're going to show you our financial might. And I think that that's exactly what happened here. Chelsea were just not going to be outdone in the infancy of this project by Liverpool. They decided to go in, find any means necessary to get the players over the line. And that commitment, that level of commitment is obviously an attraction to this club as well. The fact that players can see that Chelsea will go to at any limit to make sure that they assemble the team that they want to see. And, this is the first steps to that. Obviously we paid a little bit overs for Enzo. We paid overs again for Caicedo. And, now when we look at that midfield is going to be costing us anywhere from 220 million to 275 million when you consider that we also may have been able to attract Romeo Lavia to the club as well. And I'm excited. Don't get it twisted. I am excited about this. This is what I wanted. When we're talking about Drinkwater, Bakayoko, we're bringing what's this guy's name from loan from Atletico Madrid? I can't even remember his name. He played so few minutes for Chelsea. All of these mediocre talents. We kind of lost Zakaria, another one, a guy that everyone was raving about last year. We had all these mediocre talents on the pitch, and finally this summer we can say we actually have a midfield, a proper midfield. When you look at Moises Caicedo, you look at Enzo Fernandez, and now you look at Romeo Lavia, not to mention the guys that we already have in the ranks as well. This, I don't care what anyone says, if things come together, if the chemistry's there and the synergy's there, this is without doubt going to be one of the best midfielders in world football. I have no questions about that in my mind whatsoever. So, we've now have the baseline fundamentals to build a strong team from. Our backline looks very good. Disasi obviously coming through with a fantastic goal, but his build-up play was very good. You already know you have Thiago Silva. You already know you have Colwill is very good in possession. And of course, likes of Reece James out in the right flank as well. So there is a foundation there to build from, a strong foundation to build from. If you try to take Enzo out of the game, if you try to take, Moises Caicedo's out of the game, we play in those wide areas and we have Reece James to connect with our wingers and whatnot. So there's a multitude of ways that Chelsea can beat you right now, a multitude of ways. First and foremost, it's going to be with that midfield strength. Secondly, it's going to be with our attacking talent. And of course, we still do need to add a little bit more there, because I don't think that, Nico Jackson on his own is going to be able to score enough goals to, vault us to title contention. But in terms of top 4, top 5 races, this Chelsea team is ready to race. Like, there's no questions in my mind that top 4 is the bare minimum now. We have to be in that position by the end of the year, given the outlay and also the quality on the pitch. Anything outside of that is just unacceptable. But I'm not here to put undue pressure on the squad. I still think that we have to sort out our goal scoring. The loss of Nkunku is going to be devastating for the next few months. Nicolas Jackson is going to have a lot of responsibility on his shoulders in terms of scoring goals. And, we definitely need to insulate him a little bit better, whoever it may be. Maybe an older, more experienced center forward, good in the air and whatnot, would be a nice piece to look at. But who knows? All I'm saying is right now, Chelsea look very, very dangerous in the infancy of this creation. We have basically overhauled the entire squad within 12 months. And the results of it is a young, exciting team that I feel everyone is going to be fearful of if we get those next transfers, over the line. But I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I am excited. I don't want to get too long with this video because I feel like I might even do an Enzo and Lavia video once those are well over the line. So, I just wanted to focus on this game, a couple of aspects of things that I'm noticing in the first couple of games and whatnot. And, Pochettino is a mastermind. He's looking like his tactical deployment, his immediacy in which that he realized what Liverpool were going to do, the reasoning behind switching to a more conservative style, but still with the same principles in mind, was just masterful. I think that we bossed Liverpool in areas all over the pitch. We were very, very good in the central areas. We were very, very good out wide, and we gave them all sorts of problems thinking about what their next action would be. So if that continues and we play, the lesser teams, I think we play West Ham next. I want to see an even further understanding of what it is we're trying to do. I want to see us be even more clinical in the final third as well. But the additions to the team, I think the ideation in the team, I think the football that we're trying to employ, the philosophies that are being employed here are excellent and of a high standard. And now it's just like for the players, the younger players, to take on the instruction and, implement it in a way that is flawless for this team. But guys, this is early doors. There's still lots to come. Until then, keep the blue flag flying high and up to Chelsea. Peace.